to run around and get sniped in the shoe in Call of Duty and thinks that's a fun experience they're lunatics. I'm sorry, lunatics. I can't do that anymore. Man, I've never played a game where my KD didn't matter. When I play that game, I don't care about my KD. I'm just running around because Taz and
shoot, it matters to me.
Can you come play with us? Can you come play
matters
with your
to
friends?
me. My KD matters to me. I don't know what you're talking about.
It matters to me, just not in that game.
All right, I am live on the DPS channel. Let me
I got you.
Throw the link into the chat for those watching the replay, so you'll be able to join us over there. You know, get some more, continue the truth bombs on Destiny.
Well, we're not talking about that. We're talking about some Star Wars now. Once again, guys, really go ahead.
Nothing. I was just gonna be slanderous.
Oh,
no,
yeah,
go ahead.
No, once again, appreciate everybody that's coming through. We are going to transition to the other channel. So if you don't get the live redirect, which you should do for everybody, you'll end up on the DPS channel. There will also be a link inside of the chat where you can just click on that. That slow-mo just dropped there at the very bottom. So we will see you guys over there. And shout out to Gregor saying slow-mo up here cherry picking their competition. Absolutely, sir. That is how he does. So thanks again. See you on the other channel. And
I really hope you guys enjoy, you know, the final. What's the expansion called? The final round? The final expansion? Well, they can hear me on my side. They can hear me on my side.
Well,
the final expansion, the final time will be relevant. Is that what it's called? I don't know. Something like that.
The final shape,
like
sir?
Oh, shape. Yeah.
Jesus.
Shape of an L.
Jesus.
Okay, I'm done. All right, we supposed to be talking about what is this? Star Wars Outlaws, and I guess we can go into two different ways we can talk about this. We can discuss first our thoughts on the game itself and what we saw, and then I guess later on we can discuss some of the bit of the controversy, which I guess is kind of connected to other conversations and discussions that are going on in regards to Western developers and the way they kind of show their characters, the way they make certain characters look, because that seems to be a huge conversation, you know, on social media right now in regards to this game. So I guess first we can start with how our thoughts are on the game itself. And Logic, I don't think I've heard you talk about this game at all. What are your thoughts about Star Wars Outlaws itself? Just as far as like the game and whether you're gonna like engage in it or play it at all.
My thoughts are it'll be out in August.
That's it. You're not gonna play it or nothing.
And until that happens, like I mean, they've done what they needed to do. They've hooked my interest level with the premise, right? Open world Star Wars game set. When is it set again?
I
was just looking at this the other night.
I don't know where, like in the timeline of the Star Wars universe, this is set. I couldn't call it. I don't know.
Star Wars Outlaws is set around 4. I forget.
So it's after. So it's in between the pre-sequel. Oh, so it's in between 4 and 5.
Actually, it's in between 5 and 6. In between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
Because Empire was supposed to be 2 years after the Battle of Yavin.
Yeah.
So episode 5 takes place in 3 ABY, which means 3 years after the Battle of Yavin and A New Hope. Just a year later is when episode 6 begins. So we know Outlaws takes place at some point in that time frame. So it's like right in between.
Gotcha. But you don't seem interested in this game, huh?
I don't know. I'm definitely interested. I mean, my thing is like I don't.
So you're not interested at all.
Yeah, I don't like I'm just not overly like I don't say, hey, I'm going to be playing this game in August. Because I don't know, because the game could come out and it could have 99 bajillion bugs, right, and be unstable, or it could chug and not be hardware optimized on PC. Like it's all a matter, no matter what the game looks like in a trailer, no matter what the hoopla is around it, you never know until you know. And I just don't set myself up for either disappointment or I leave myself open to, pleasant surprise, right, and enjoyment of a game by like not trying to predict or think that, it's a definite success or it's a definite failure.
So you're on the fence right now with it. It could go either way.
I'm always on the fence with every game until it launches. I mean, with like very rare exceptions based on franchise, like up until this time. So we're talking about Forza, up until the most recent release. Every release of Forza, I've always been like, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy that, right? Destiny 2, I was there day one. But that's like incredibly rare. Like I can pick out like the 3 franchises that, the Division 2, I was there right away. Mm-hmm. But by and large, I'm just always on the fence until it launches. What I will say is the premise, right, meets that minimum requirement, and then added points for it being massive entertainment, one of my top 5 favorite studios of all time, and it being in the Snowdrop engine, right? All of that bodes well.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that, especially with like Snowdrop Engine and Massive. Like I like that developer and I like the game engine they created, and I do like the premise of the story. I'm not, I think I'd like to say I'm more realistic on what Star Wars is, and not necessarily like how some kind of feel like it's like the greatest thing ever. But that said, I do like where the story is going. All those things I like more than the gameplay. From what I saw of the gameplay, there's a lot of sneaking around. I know she's supposed to be a rogue, right? So like that's what they do, but like there's a lot of sneaking around. There's a lot of I see a lot of stealth kind of stuff going on in it, and I'm not that kind of like guy. I'm not really into stuff like that. So for me, of course we haven't seen like we did see some gameplay last year at Ubisoft Connect, but everything that I saw, like I'm more than like some of it interested me, but I'm more along the lines of let me go guns blazing. I'm not trying to sneak around, wait for the dumb AI of the guard to turn his back and then creep up behind him as if he's got zero awareness of his surroundings and tap him on the back of the head and he falls out. Like I hate stealth elements in games because they always seem to me make it just seem so unrealistic. That said, like I still need to see more, and I'm probably still going to get it in. What I probably likely do is just like re-sub for Ubisoft Plus and play it and try it anyway. And then if I'm really digging it, then I'll buy it. If not, then I'll move on. Forrest, what are your thoughts on it?
No, go ahead.
Elijah, you was about to say something.
So I think what I can almost guarantee you is, number one, I will contend that Ubisoft does the best E3 show. And so I can pretty much guarantee you that you will probably see, let's start the bidding at 10 minutes of gameplay at the Ubisoft Summer Games Fest, which will be Monday after the keynote or whatever on Friday. So Monday the 10th, I think it is. I mean, I think that's why they dropped the trailer, and they didn't have any problems dropping the trailer, because a lot of people looked at it, even I looked at it, and I was like, why? Your big showcase is in like 2 months. Like, why are you dropping the trailer now? Why didn't you save that? And I'm like, oh, because, right, if you go back to last year,
they showed like 5 minutes of gameplay or something like that. Yeah.
Well, they showed like lots of gameplay. They showed lots of gameplay for Avatar, and they had the creative directors come out, and they had right, because my problem with the showcases last year were so many games were shown in the trailer palooza, and I'm like, I don't know what that game is. Like, I saw a title, I saw like a cutscene. Like, I can't tell you what is that game a tactical RPG? Is that game a third-person shooter or sneaker? Is that like, but like each of the creative directors for the Ubisoft games came out and spent time. They demoed the game. You saw gameplay. And I think it was quite honestly better than both the Xbox and the PlayStation showcases last year. I feel pretty confident that you're going to see like a healthy chunk of gameplay. My big thing for what you said about like the sneaker elements, the key tip over point for that with me is always, fine if you want to have sneaking elements, but you need to equip me to, if I have to go guns blazing, you need to make sure that I just don't get my lunch handed to me, right? You can't,
right?
You can't set me up like a Splinter Cell.
right? It can't be the illusion of choice, because it's not really a choice. If I start shooting, they're gonna look at me and a bullet will graze me, and then I die, and then I'm going back to the checkpoint. Like that's not right. That's not. Hey, it's your choice to go gun, but it's like, hey, shoot if you want to do that. Sure, we're gonna penalize you because we really want you to just be sneaking around. It's just like what I'm just gonna end up having to play the game the way I don't want to play it, which is, it depends. It depends, and this, yeah.
So Far Cry seems to have that balance right. Spider-Man seems to have that balance right. Like Spider-Man 2, you can stay up in the rafters, right, and pull everyone down. Yeah, I'd even go back and even say like a lot of the Arkham games, right, kind of had that balance kind of right. Like you could stay in the darkness and sneak around and kind of do some attrition on the bad guys, or you could just go in, right, and go guns blazing and effectively fight your way out.
Right, like even in Spider-Man, when you do those when you take down strongholds, like it has like 4 waves, like 4 or 5 waves, and like the first wave, you could do that entire first wave stealth. Yep. But as soon as that first wave is over, the jig is up, and now you gotta actually like fight and not just sit up up on the ceiling and whip some dude to the ceiling and stuff like that. Like you can't clear the entire stronghold that way, which I appreciate, because even I've done that in Spider-Man where I've tried to web up everybody and just every now and then, but then because I kind of know like after wave 1 I better be able to fight, and I don't get the vibe that that's what this game is, unfortunately. I think it'd be pretty much like, how do you get, here is let's say a hangar where there's a bunch of TIE fighters in it and a bunch of troopers in it, and you need to get from one side of the room to the other side of the room. How are you going to do that? You're going to send your little cute little thing that they're definitely going to sell action figures and stuffed animals for, because that's what they do with Star Wars, right? You're going to send that little thing out to like create a distraction or something so you can creep on by, or you're going to get it to go pick up a weapon for you, and just all kinds of things that they'll set up for you to be able to make your way through. And that, all that's fine and all, but can I just pull out my blaster and start shooting people from cover?
Right.
If I can't do that, then I'm probably not going to want to play it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I noticed, like when I was watching the story trailer, and it was like, it seems like you could be put in situations where it's like, how Call of Duty campaigns, especially if you're playing on veteran, you're like, what was I thinking, or what? It like makes you like rethink, like, why did I pick this difficulty knowing that this is gonna be like this? But then you push through because it's not as hard as people think it is. That's the one thing I don't want in a Star Wars game, is that feeling that I'm always surrounded by stuff, especially when it's only a blaster and you have to shoot your way out of everything. I would more kin to doing that when it's like a Jedi version, because then it's like, it's cool to see how you could go about fighting everybody and getting out of scenarios and stuff. That's what I think Fallen Order did, and Survivor did very, very well. But I'm super excited. Like, I love Star Wars. I like the fact, I like the time period. I like the story that it could possibly tell. The one thing I will say is, hopefully they end up doing what all the EA games have done. So like, if you think about the single player portions of Star Wars Battlefront 2, that's canon now. Like, that part of Star Wars is in the canon for the actual mythos for the franchise. And I thought but Battlefront did a really good job with the single player, with the characters and stuff, and I like that a lot. So I hope that this is good enough to the point where Disney does include it as part of that, and that kind of gives me like the belief that it actually has a good chance of living up to some expectations when it comes to the story. But I like the overall feel, the ambience, the sheer size of some of the vistas that you see inside of it. That looked really, really cool. And it's coming out earlier than I thought. I was thinking this was going to be sometime in the fall, maybe closer to the holidays, like around October, November, but we're getting this in August. And I think that's actually a really good time because the only thing that really comes out in August is Madden. And depending on how people feel, that's not a game that people even care about. So I think that's a really, really good release window for it, and we're definitely going to get more of that at Ubisoft Forward when they talk about it around, you know, June, July, whenever they decide to do it, because E3 is not a thing to like consolidate all this information anymore. But yeah, I definitely like what we saw there. But I do know you said we could go at this from two different directions. What was your other direction you were thinking about, Summer?
I mean, you mean as far as this conversation? You mean the other direction?
Well, you said at the beginning. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, this it's the face controversy thing is what everyone is talking about. So if you saw the announcement trailer, and I think I got that somewhere, so I'll show that. If you saw the announcement trailer of the game, and which was announced last year, and they did two things. They did an announcement trailer, and then they did like some gameplay. I think I have that. I'm trying to find it. What we're looking at right now on the Jumbotron is the story trailer, which it was shown earlier this week. And so people noticed the difference in the way that the main character, whose name escapes me, is it Kess or Tess or something? K-Vest, there we go. People noticed the difference in the way K-Vest looked. And I think this would not even really be that big a deal if it wasn't for so many of these discussions about Western developers and the depictions of female characters that have been a part of the social media gaming conversation for the past week or two. And Stellar Blade has been the focus of this conversation, as well as various other games where this conversation has been brought up, and then those games have been put back into the spotlight as well. Now, I think we all can universally agree that, like, compared to the announcement trailer, that there definitely is a difference in the way that she looks. Now, why that's the case, I don't know. I do know for certain that, like, although I like massive entertainment, faces have never been their strong suit. If anything, when it comes to the Snowdrop engine and their artists and their depictions of characters, like Division 2 looks good in a lot of different ways. Character faces and the actual like animation of them speaking and the way they look have never been a strong suit. There have been, like, I vividly remember probably one of the most like reviled characters in the Division like franchise, Aaron Keener, when you finally kill him and being so disappointed with the cutscene of him dying because his face just looked like I drew it. I'm just like, what the heck? This is such a, like, takes you out of the moment. I'm like, I'm finally happy I caught this bastard and he's dying. And all I could think about in that scene is that his face looked terrible. And so when you kind of bring all that together, I think it's kind of a combination of some things. I think they are trying to evolve their game engine in a way where they can be better at those things that they had not highlighted before because they weren't important for them in their looter shooters before. But also then I look at Avatar, and Avatar faces look way better. You look at like some of the human, well, it always seems to be easier for non-humans to be depicted in games for some reason. I don't know why, but like when it comes to actual humans, they did do a better job in Avatar. And so I'm kind of wondering, like, simply because this is April and at some point, you know, this game's gonna come out in August, they got like 5 months. Maybe they can make improvements here, but what are your thoughts about this in regards to the face, the character, and Western developers? It seems like Western developers have a problem depicting characters accurately to what the face model or actress look like. What are your thoughts on that?
I ain't gonna lie to you. The only time I really pay attention to that is when I'm making my own character. Like when you're in a character creation screen, that's when I usually have a huge problem with the overall way that they go about, you know, making people the perception of what a person looks like, male or female, because I just feel like there's just so many options that are missing from the game when it comes to that. So the fact that this is a static character doesn't bother me as much, but I do understand why people feel the way they feel, especially like if you go back and look at the original trailer with her sneaking through the starport. It doesn't look vastly different, but you can definitely see some of the things that have kind of changed. And then some of the animations just look kind of like, they look good, but they don't look like as of the quality if you look at something like, think of like Last of Us or something like that, when you look at those facial qualities and stuff. But I also go back and think how much of this is like mocapping, when you're literally taking full scans of people's faces and you're not trying, you're trying to reconstruct it from like images versus having them in an actual mocap studio, having the balls all over their face, getting a complete three-dimensional map of the person's face and what they actually look like, and rendering that inside of your engine right then and there, and then you're just building the human features above that. There's a lot of different ways that you can kind of see, some probably way more expensive than others. That's one thing that people will never say negative about what Ninja Theory does, because facial animations, expressions, and character looks is top notch in that game. I mean, it might be the reason we're playing at 30 frames per second, but I just think it's just a philosophy, and it's something that a lot of these developers, I don't think they do it on purpose. I just think that it's kind of something that's like, it's good enough for them when it comes to like the experience that they're willing to go with. If I remember correctly, when we were talking about Last of Us a while ago, didn't they say one of the characters, it took them like 2 years just to come up with the hair on one of the characters, or was it Abby's hair or something? Or it might have been, what's the name, Ellie's hair in the game. Like, they worked on just the overall rendering and textures and everything just of the hair. How many studios gonna put that much time in just something like hair to make it look as good as it looks in that game?
Well, I mean, that's something, I don't know if you remember, I did a video about hair. I mean, the video is about black hair, but I really get into the minutia of like how hair is created and how it's developed and everything. And when it comes to hair, like, it could tank your game. If you really wanted to make hair look as realistic as possible. I mean, we all have, on average, I think it's like 150,000 strands of hair on our head. And you clearly can't render all of that. What they use is hair cards. And it's like, there's like 4 different stages of it. To kind of like just do a TLDR on that. There's 4 different stages of hair cards that are used. And when it comes down to it, there's a way to do it where it looks actually. Force, are you?
Say what?
It's something going on with your mic. No,
somebody's walking up above me. I'm sorry.
That's all right. There's a way to implement it where it looks realistic and it looks like you actually have like a realistic set of hair on someone's head. And then there's a way where it just looks really janky. And a lot of times this stuff is outsourced to other developers, like a support studio, to just handle that all on their own. And you would think that ends up good. But then a lot of times I've seen games where when I was doing the research for the video, where they outsourced the work for the hair in the game to another studio, and it still looked terrible. And to bring that up, like, I can't find the other trailer. I know I had it. I don't know. I may have deleted it, but like the announcement trailer, Kay's hair is very different in the announcement trailer compared to the story trailer. Like, it's a night and day difference. And I don't know why they made that change, or if, like, I don't know if they got out of just strictly in engine and then they started trying to optimize this for like all the different platforms, and they kind of found that the way they had the hair done just was not good for performance, and they had to kind of downgraded in order to make it work. Who knows? But like that's kind of this is a part of game development. This stuff happens. I do think that there is some valid points to Western developers not doing like the scan for like mocapping an actress the way that say like Eastern developers do, because like I've seen people argue that, oh well, you know, like it's not that easy, no one does it really good, and I'm like, well, Naughty Dog seems to not have these problems, even though they're a Western developer. So that, I mean, that kind of like Western, this is one that Western developer that does it well, but
even Gorilla.
Gorilla does it pretty good, but a game that really wasn't considered to be all that good for Spoken. You look at like how they did, I forgot the actress's name, but it looks just like her in the game. So it's just like you can get it done. It's just that I guess it comes down to what's important to you. And I think when we know how games are developed and from Eastern developers is different, how games are developed from Western developers, they have different aspects of its game design they find to be more important. And I think this just tends to be one of those things where Eastern developers tend to find these aspects to be more important than Western developers, and it shows. And yeah, I mean, Logic, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, the first thing I want to do is I want to put a poker chip in that I want to cover this really quickly, because before we get off, I do want to, and the answer could be no. I do want to really quickly talk about Unicorn Overlord, the Bafta Awards, and the Triple I Showcase.
Okay.
But
you want to talk about WrestleMania 2 while we at it?
I don't. I didn't watch it. I'm still rewatching Ruthless Aggression.
I didn't watch it either.
But on this topic, my bullet list of comments is, first of all, talk about Star Wars, back to the earlier part of the conversation, talk about Star Wars in general. I mean, this story has the key element that it needs to be a winner, which is that it's not a Skywalker story. The second thing is, what do we think about the possibility that this is canon, as Forte suggested, and Kay Vess, as a live actress, shows up in the Mandalorian movie next summer?
And that's exactly what I was thinking. You with me.
That's a chance, because Kyle Vestas from the Jedi Fallen Order Survivor, like that actor has said he's open to doing the live action parts, and there have been rumors that he will show up eventually in like a Disney Plus thing. So yeah, that's definitely a chance.
And the character Amelia Clark played in Solo will make an appearance in this game. It won't be Amelia Clark being the voice actress, but that character will be in this game, and it'll be like several years after the Solo story. And so this, in timeline, the Mandalorian would be like 5 years or so after this story takes place. So it's just interesting. But okay, so the quick rundown of my feelings on this is, first of all, this is a game that's in progress, and this goes back to what I said about earlier about like I don't formulate what I think a game is going to be based on the trailers, because it's in production. When we talk about demos and we talk about assets that are used to put these trailers together, this is from a build that was probably 2 or 3 months ago, right? And the trailer was probably put together, and the assets may have even come before the trailer was put together. They probably weren't the assets in the build at the time. So we don't know that we're looking at the way the characters are going to actually show up. I mean, you talked about there being differences in the way she looked last year, in the way she looks now, and she's probably going to look slightly different potentially even in the game as it comes out. When you even look at this trailer, if you look at it from frame to frame, I feel like there are points where there are scenes and sequences where like down to like some very minor details, but I think that I feel like there are some differences in the way she even looks in the trailer from frame to frame, which tells me that based on where they were with the build, that the asset that's used for the skin mapping over the wireframe is probably a different asset, whether it's been slightly tweaked or whatever. So again, this is what has made me so cranky about this week in general. And I feel like we're seeing some like great, like very loud examples of like a lot of the bad behavior tropes and patterns in the gaming community. There has been like the loudest volume of conversation about everything that's not actually games in the gaming community in these first 3.5 months or so of the year. So I think there's a lot of reasons why, right, this may not even matter. So yeah, I mean, and we know from game development pipelines, right? We know that the final skinning over wireframes and final like blocking of objects into the actual game, that a lot of the things that the physics guys are working on right now are just wireframes. And those final skins aren't going to be applied over those wireframes until, you know, just prior to hardware optimization. So, I don't know if it's going to make a difference. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that is true. I mean, like, and I said that like from the very beginning. Like, this game isn't complete yet. Like, if you want to have an issue with like, and actually, I'll say this real quick. A developer I know that is familiar with the Snowdrop engine said that there was something not right with the lighting. So maybe that also, and people don't realize lighting can play a massive role in how characters look. I don't think any of
the Halo trailer, the original Halo,
right, well, which had
Halo
more
Infinite.
Which had more issues than just the lighting, but the lighting was a big problem. But like, I don't think any of the human looking characters in this trailer look good. I think they all look either very dated or just very like strange looking. And so I think that like that developer I spoke with, I think he had some really good points there, and maybe these things will be fixed as they are continuing to you know, work on the quality of the visual, which are things that typically are done near the end of development and not necessarily things that you're working on for the years that you're working on the game. So she could look very different, and by the time this comes out in August, we'll have to, you know, see. But yeah, anything else we want to say about this before we move on?
No, I'm good, man. I'm excited for the game, though. That's what I'll be said.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm going to get this and use Ubisoft Plus. I'll resubscribe for a month and play it.
Does it give you the Ultimate Edition, which gives you the 3 days early?
It does give you the early access.
Yep. So that's what I'm doing too.
if anything, the pricing, the way they price things, I think might be trying to get people, especially now that Ubisoft Plus is on all platforms and not just PC. It seems like as if they are attempting to try to like, hey, you know, you can spend all this money or you can sign up for Ubisoft Plus, because I think that what they're banking on is that there's always a percentage of people that sign up for something and forget to unsubscribe from it. And so in the grand scheme of things, I think they're kind of hoping that they could bolster Ubisoft Plus and get people to sign on even if they're not using it actively for a period of time before they finally decide to cancel their subscription. And they may end up getting more money out of that person in the long run than they did if they just bought this game up front and then chose to, you know, play it for like 5 hours and drop it or whatever. But,
is there a collector's edition for this game? There is a collector's edition for this game, right? But is there a collector's edition that gets you like physical stuff that I haven't looked into?
I think there is.
I do not know.
I think there is. I haven't looked at it though, but I think there is one.
Because I know that they're trying to pull a Starfield, right? They took up Labor Day weekend and put the early access over Labor Day weekend, which is like an incredibly smart move and very smart to get that release date out early, right? To warn other people off.
That's true.
Yeah. I think this is about it. We don't really have anything else to discuss. You guys, anything that you guys want to announce before we get into outros?
I want to announce that
maybe that'd be part of your outro.
I want to announce that I love you, and I want to announce that I'm super proud of Game Logic for not being the slow-mo stand today that I thought he was, and I will never call him that ever again.
Wow, Slow-mo's pulling a Forte. It seems like he didn't even hear me when I said before we get out of here, I want to really quickly talk about Unicorn Overlord, the BAFTAs, and the Triple I.
No, he literally didn't hear.
Okay, I'm sorry. I did hear you. I'm doing much that I completely forgot.
He just disregarded what you said, basically.
Unicorn Overlord. I bought Unicorn Overlord. I have not played it yet. What are your thoughts on the game?
I've only played like the first couple hours. The one thing that I want to say 3 times is Unicorn Overlord is an auto battler. Unicorn Overlord is an auto battler. Unicorn Overlord is an auto battler. And I say that 3 times because I don't think reviewers and other people are making as loud of an issue. I don't think it's an issue. That's not the right way to phrase it. But I think people are going to walk into it's tagged as a tactical RPG. And there are definitely tactical elements to it. I feel like it's a little bit more in the line of a strategic, almost RTS RPG. Like you have a strategic map and you're able to move units around and you have a lot of control before the units get into battle. It leans much more so towards Rome Total War, much more so towards, gosh, what was the other Rome game that I played from an indie last year? There was like a squad-based tactical RPG it's from a series of games. I can't, I'll look it up, but I mean, everything that you do to manage the outcome of battle is really, before you go into battle. And once you go into battle, like it's an auto battle. Like you don't have individual control over individual units right in their turn. You have to set all that up before battle. So that I don't think that makes it bad, but it's just a bit of a system shock if you're not expecting it. But so far I've had a good time with it. Most of my review notes are about the audio at this point. I haven't really cracked too far into the it's another game other than Total War Rome. It's man, like I said, I'll have to look it up. It's from an indie developer and it's from a smaller studio. But I've had Expeditions Rome. That's the thing that I'm thinking about. Which is, again, it's squad based, and again you have control over a strategic map, but then you zoom in to actually run missions. But even then you have individual control over individual units, but scale wise it feels like it's along those lines. But yeah, I'm having a pretty good time with it.
Yes.
Cool. Forza, are you? I was gonna ask you if you were. I don't think you.
I have Unicorn. I have it. I have it on Switch. I just haven't got a chance. I haven't played it yet, but I have it.
Yeah, and I feel like I don't want to say I've got buyer's remorse. I bought it on PlayStation 5. Bought it on Switch. I feel like I should have bought it on Switch. Yeah.
I try to tell people. Listen, when it comes to games like Unicorn Overload, Octopath Traveler, Final. I mean, even I bought because I know the pixel art versions of Final Fantasy 1 through 6. They're available pixel art form on the Switch, or you could buy them on Steam. I bought them on the Switch because for some reason, any turn-based game, like I played Bravely Default 2 on my Switch, any game like that, I've always bought on my Switch because for some reason, they're just super easy to just pick up, play a little bit as you want, and then you don't feel like you're committed to it, like to sit down at your TV to play the game for like 3-4 hours. That's kind of like the commitment you're making when you sit down at your TV. Versus on my Switch, I only reason I haven't picked that up and played it yet is because I've been off on my other kick with other stuff that I've been doing. But most games, like, it took me about 35, 40 days to beat Tears of the Kingdom, and that was with me putting like 45 minutes to an hour and a half a day into it. Sometimes I put more, 3 or 4 hours in at the most, but and that was just by chance because I just feel like I wasn't committing myself to like sitting down on my couch to play it, and it's like a completely different mindset of gaming when you do that. So I definitely hear you when you say you probably should have just bought it on the Switch, because I feel like that game is probably going to be not a better experience, but just the overall ability to play it whenever you want to.
Yeah, I probably should have did the same thing, considering I bought it on Xbox like a bonehead. And
you trying to give Xbox some love.
Yeah, look, man, yeah, and then like I don't play my, like, the Xbox is my kid's Xbox. So it's like the only chance like I really need to like have opportunity to play it is when like I'm in the family room and it's there and it's like not already being used by the kids watching TV, or us watching something together, or me like saying watching Monarch or Shogun or one of my other TV shows. And so it's like I probably should like I wish the developer, I forgot their name, but their intelligence, no, that's not it.
Vanillaware.
Vanillaware, yes. Yeah, they don't want to put games on PC for whatever reason. And so like,
yeah, it would be great on Steam Deck.
Yeah,
it would be great on the Steam Deck.
It would be a perfect game on PC, but they just won't do it. Like also 13 Sentinels, which I really enjoyed. I also need to finish. I'm like near the end of it, but like I really enjoyed that game, and I love the way they did how the story elements are so separate, and then there is the time travel stuff, and the battles are completely separate from the story. It's just it was a very unique way of game design for their game. And then that's only on wait a minute, 13 Sentinels I think it's only on PlayStation. I think none of the games are ever on PC. Yeah, and I know it's not on Xbox. I don't Switch I'm not quite certain about, but yeah, 13 Sentinels is awesome, and I like their content. I just wish they would, put stuff on more platforms. I probably would end up having to buy this on the Switch so that I can actually play it while I work.
Those did come out on the Switch.
All right, I might have to buy 2 games on the Switch then. I need something to play on the Switch because the only thing I'm playing on it right now is Fire Emblem 3 Houses for the 5th time. So when they drop a Fire Emblem game, I'm in there. But like, I need something else.
I think the one thing about the Switch, I think the reason people are just so weary about just playing on the Switch is because they're just tired of that old hardware. Like that's partly part of the reason why I haven't played Unicorn Overload on my Switch yet, because
you keep calling it Overload. It's Overlord.
I said Overlord.
No, you have said Overload this entire time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Load. The only reason I really haven't played this because it's like, I really haven't picked up my Switch. I used to pick it up every day. I haven't played it in like probably 2.5, 3 weeks at this point now. And I think part of it is just that I just ready for a new handheld, and I want Nintendo to stop playing with people and please let this new system come out in the near future, because I do think that will reinvigorate a lot of the people that like playing those games on the go, because everybody don't have $700 or $600 to go out and spend on those other portable experiences, even knowing the ROG Ally has had multiple price drops over the course of the last 3 to 4 months, pretty much since Christmas.
Yeah, but that's been of the lower end unit.
Yeah, well, no, they dropped the lower end
They dropped the higher end unit once. Yeah, they dropped the higher end unit once, but like, but when you talk about it's gone on sale multiple times, it's been on sale like 3 or 4 times. Yeah, they dropped the higher end unit once, but all 3 times it's been the lower end unit on sale.
Yeah.
The ROG Ally.
No one should buy the lower end one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the lowest I've seen that one has been $300. That was like a week ago. It was down to $300. And but I've seen it on sale for $400 multiple times, and I've seen the higher one with the Z1 Extreme chip at like $600. Might be the lowest I've seen is $600. I'm just not interested in those kind of those handhelds really in general. The only reason why I even really kind of use the Switch is because it's the only place I can play Fire Emblem games, really, unless I decide to break out the whole and play it on my PC, which I could do, but I don't feel like doing it. But
I don't feel like doing it. I don't want to do it.
but no, I will find the time to, before I buy Unicorn Overlord on Switch. I will play it on Xbox just to make sure it's something I care to actually have owned in 2 different platforms. But 13 Sentinels, I definitely will be indulging in, because like that game is really simple to play. I mean, the run, even the Switch should be able to run that with no problem. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The BAFTAs, you guys want to talk about?
Yeah,
so
definitely.
real quick rundown on the BAFTAs, which I wanted to talk about just because I'm critical of other content creators who don't talk about the stuff and get all wrapped around the axle about being unhappy with the Keeley Awards. There are other award shows that we should be paying attention to. Quick rundown, quoted this from Hollywood Reporter. Baldur's Gate 3 led the winners at the 20th Bafta Games Awards unveiled on Thursday evening in London with 5 honors. Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Viewfinder, and Alan Wake 2 won 2 awards each. Marvel Spider-Man 2 and Baldur's Gate 3 led the nominations with 9 and 10 nods. Looking at major awards, Hi-Fi Rush for animation, Alan Wake 2 for artistic, Alan Wake 2 for audio. Baldur's Gate 3 did win the big award, the Super Bowl, for best game. British game, which I love this category, went to Viewfinder. Debut game went to Venba. Evolving game went to Cyberpunk 2077. I know that pisses Slow-Mo off. Family game went to Super Mario Brothers Wonder. Game Beyond Entertainment went to Tchia. That's kind of like an ESG kind of game.
Tchia.
I mean, that's what the award categories were. Game design went to Dave the Diver. Multiplayer went to Super Mario Brothers Wonder. Music went to Baldur's Gate 3. Narrative went to Baldur's Gate 3. New IP went to Viewfinder. Performer, this is one that I'm particularly happy about, went to Najee Jeter for Miles Morales. I posted something on Twitter a few weeks ago. I don't think people realize, like, Najee Jeter has been playing Miles Morales for like 10 or 14 years, because he got started with like an animated series on Disney, and then he's held on to the role. He hasn't played it obviously in Spider-Verse, but he's been in the role for a long time. Actually, when he first portrayed the character was like 14 or something like that, and now it's, Miles in the games is going to college. Performer in a supporting role went to Andrew Wincott for Baldur's Gate 3 as Raphael. Technical achievement went to Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and EE Player's Choice went to Baldur's Gate 3. And that was my comment on Dave the Diver, was just a joke, Slow-Mo.
I know.
Not Dave the Diver, Cyberpunk for being a game.
I know. I have let it go, because I know this year there's going to be another expansion they're going to treat like it's a brand new game, and I just gotta get over it. So,
and I agree with you on that, Nit.
Yeah, it's freaking ridiculous, man. I'm just like, yo, you realize that, I'm not going to make a big deal about it now. I'm not going to make. It's just it's frustrating. The game came out 3 years ago. Why are we trying to make it a thing again? Woosah.
One last thing before you leave, Slow-Mo. Shout out to John Wolf. He's in a DM that we're in, and shout out to him having his showing off. When's the last time you seen anybody in there talk about Destiny? But he's showing off his Portal. What game was he playing on the Slow-Mo?
Some garbage. I don't know.
He was playing Destiny on there, and they literally were having a love fest in that DM about, Destiny this. It's gonna hold me down for the year. I'm just telling you, people that haven't talked about Destiny in almost a year are excited and literally went back in and bought it because of what Bungie showed off 2 days ago. Just food for thought, Slow-Mo, but we can end the show now.
Last thing I want to talk about before we get out of here.
Oh my God, please don't let it be Destiny oriented. I can't take anymore.
It's not Destiny, it's actually far away from Destiny. And again, another thing that I think people should talk about is content creators, and I think, Slow-Mo, this will be near and dear to your heart, is the Triple I initiative. Did anybody watch this?
You know what? I saw it was a thing, and I completely forgot to check it out. So I did miss it.
The Triple I initiative. I didn't watch it live. I'm currently viewing it now. So the Triple I initiative is an effort to promote indie games, and it's kind of an effort to kind of brand this new category of independent games as like Triple I, which are they're labeled as games of notoriety amongst the indies. Sometimes they're kind of referred to as indie games with, you know, larger than average budgets, and some marketing behind them. But it's an effort to try and bring attention to indie games, and at least the indie games that, you know, are big and notable, that, you know, hopefully in the hope that people will pay attention to them. It's 45 minutes. I do think this is the kind of thing that gamers should pay attention to. I often talk about the fact that, you know, at least for 2 years running, and then I stopped doing it, I would always post like the list of independent titles that were not expansions, were, you know, full-blown games that scored an 80 or above on Metacritic, and ask how many people had played them. And obviously I would hear silence and crickets because not enough people did. But I think, you know, this is a thing that, you know, hopefully gamers should pay attention to, particularly given all the dialogue that there is about, you know, oh, AAA games are unsustainable, and, you know, they should be more indie games and AA games. There's a reason there's not more of them, or at least they don't get promoted as much, and big companies don't make them, because people don't pay attention to stuff like this. You know, a quick rundown: Slay the Spire 2 coming out, Risk of Rain 2 Devotion update, Shadows of Doubt Sharpshooter Assassin update, which this is a really interesting game. It's like a detective procedural game, and so it like generates murders, and has an active murderer that you're trying to solve that mystery. And then as you solve one case, and you have options to like solve the case or close the case. So it's pretty neat. And there's
I just had the greatest idea for a gamer tag now, or a name, like when you're playing a competitive game, Murder Simulator. Just based off of what you Murder Simulator. Let me write that down. I need to make that like my epic name or something.
So there are a few others coming here. I liked Night Killer, which is a shmup that's coming out. That's, you know, like a knight that's gone to hell and you're trying to fight your way out. I won't go over all these. Vampire Survivors Operation Guns DLC is coming out. What the Car? There's a studio. I can't remember exactly what the studio's name is, but they've done several games of this What the Whatever as the now name. They've got another one coming out called What the Car. Norland is coming out, which is a kingdom simulator. That's an independent releasing in mid-May. Darkest Dungeon 2. A few others in here. Bertado Abysmal Terrors DLC. Old World Behind the Throne expansion is a 4X game. Again, on a landscape where we don't see a ton of 4X games. And it's a studio that was having a lot of problems last year. Is it Pandemic? Or Paradox. That's the publisher that I'm thinking about, that had problems with one of its developers going rogue and breaking away from them. Power of Multiplayer coming out with a arena teaser, was part of the show. A game called 33 Immortals, which goes into closed beta on the 24th of May. So a lot of good stuff in here that I think people will find interesting. V Rising Castlevania crossover DLC was part of the trailer. And Rogue Prince of Persia, which is actually a collaborative effort between Ubisoft and I think the Dead Cells studio.
Yeah, I think I heard about that.
Yeah. So there are a few good things in there. Again, you know, we're going to get another kind of indie arcade presentation as part of Summer Games Fest, but I think this is another good one that kind of highlights some indies that people should pay attention to.
Cool. Appreciate that. Thank you. Forte.
Yo.
Let everybody know what you got going on for the next week, where people can find you, and all that good stuff.
Man, so for myself, getting back to playing traditional games, you know, get off the cell phone for a while. It's been fun, but all the events for this month are pretty much, well, no, I take it back. I got one more thing I got to do on Sunday. The one thing I will say, man, Pokemon Go, man, good God. I did a raid hour yesterday for one of the raids, because they do them like every Thursday. There's a raid hour from 6 to 7. And there's a place called Rochester Hills here in Michigan. And I go out there. It's about 30 minutes from my house. So I drove out there. It is literally probably one of the best spots to play the game. There's Pokestops everywhere. There's like 30 gyms within like a mile radius. And I will tell you, I was super proud of myself. This is the first, because I was like kind of weary, because, you know, I walk a lot, but I haven't walked like profusely this much in 1 hour, because you got to get from gym to gym to gym to gym. I put in 3.5 miles. No, not 3.5 miles. It was 3.5 miles in that day just playing the game. In that 1 hour, I did 1.5 miles in that 1 hour, just going from place to place to place. I was exhausted. Like, oh my God, it was crazy. But I'm gonna get back to playing. So I'm finally gonna open and play some more Final Fantasy, because I haven't even really dived into it as much over the course of the last month. So I'm gonna get back into that, back to making videos on the channel, working on some other stuff that been working on pretty much for the entire year when it comes to this. Get back to doing that. I want to get that done by my birthday. So within the next 3 to 4 weeks, I want the stuff for this channel to be done. So I'm gonna get that really rolling to get that taken care of. And playing games with my friends like Slomo and Sertaz, getting me to spend $10 to play on PlayStation, because you
had a ball. You enjoyed it. You loved it.
I don't enjoy getting shot in the pinky with a sniper rifle and dying from cheaters. I would never understand.
I've been showing Call of Duty gameplay this entire time. The only time there's only one suspect clip that happened just now, but I ain't gonna talk about it.
Guess what? That's because all the ones that you do get, you don't record them. That's what that is.
I record cheaters sometimes, and then I send it by. I mostly just report them, and I get the little notification from Activision saying we took care of that douchebag.
Slomo, I challenge. This is my challenge to you. My challenge to you is, over the course of the next week, my challenge to you is to take your worst game. It could be a guy cheating in the lobby. Take your worst game and record it and play it during the podcast next week.
Why?
Why not? It's legit. It's what happened to you. It's not. It should be about showing you off the content that you are experiencing as you were playing the game, instead of being so one-sided with it.
You sound like you hating. Well, first of all, it's like because you're so one-sided with it.
Because I'm in a party with you and I hear you complaining all the time.
I'm not going why show a game of me record the game of me playing going like 18 and 20. And there's a cheater in the lobby.
Which one of these games did you showcase the game that you went 33 and what was it, 12?
No.
Or 33 and 5 or something? Some crazy number like that?
No.
Oh, you didn't showcase that one yet? Okay, you saving that one for a rainy day. I got you.
You know what? First of all, hold on a second. You talk like I barely have good games, and then the good games I barely have, those are the ones I show on screen. Nobody shows the game where they got bodied by cheaters on their streams or recording. So why
they make full-blown videos about people cheating and post them on YouTube?
To highlight cheaters, not to have as gameplay in the background during the podcast. Matter.
I just said I challenge you to do it. I know you won't do it. I just want to see
you challenge me to do something that no one else would do, even including yourself, because you've been using the same Battlefield gameplay for the past 3 months. Hypocrite.
Actually, no. Actually, this Battlefield.
No, it's the exact same. Battlefield gameplay you've been using. Yes, it is. No, it is. I can tell. I know. You have used it so often. You have used it so often that I know where you're going and what you're doing when I look at the gameplay.
Listen, I have a folder that's on one map that is 50 different games, like 43 different games on one map.
Oh my gosh. And yeah, you use the same one over and over and over again.
No, it's literally it's like a 3-hour video.
Logic. So you record all your games.
No, yes. Go ahead. Go ahead. Slomo.
So you record your bad games and your good games.
Oh yeah, I got bad games that I record because those are the ones you go back and look at to improve.
Okay, so you show those when you're hosting DPS?
There's been many games.
No, you haven't. Stop the lies. Stop the freaking lies, bro.
There's been games that I have shown where I have died way more than I have killed. And even Gregor was like, dang, how many times are we going to look at you looking up in the air?
I'm more, I don't know if impressed is the right word, but like you have nights where you like come in and watch film to like get better at games.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I have video, dude. When I was going through my on Battlefield, when I was trying to get my KD above a 2.3, actually it was to get it above a 2. Now the goal is to get it to a 3.0, a 3-point KD. I was literally looking at videos of where I was getting killed at and how and what I was doing. And I came to the realization that my peripheral vision was not up to stuff. I would literally see somebody on the screen, or I wouldn't see them, but on my screen, they are clearly there. And I'm like, what am I not? You get that tunnel vision. So I taught myself to stop having tunnel vision. And then I taught myself to be able to use leverage and use like angles and stuff better in the game. Same thing I used to do in Destiny. Like when I played when me and Luca used to play all the time, I would record me and Luca's gameplay because for a while she was way better at me than in PvP, which was crazy. But I was trying to figure out why I couldn't beat her, and it was because I had a roadblock for warlocks. I just couldn't deal with a warlock for some reason. That whole floating around the air thing and them just surprising you out of nowhere, it just used to give me the fits. So I had to literally watch video of why this was happening to me. And come to find out, it was mostly about where my gun placement was, like where I would be running, and I would be looking down sometimes at the ground instead of having my crosshair center line. And then once I learned how to center my crosshair, even when I was running, it like literally changed my whole life. It was like, I look at film all the time, bro. Whenever I want to get better at a game, I look at it.
None of that has anything to do with you actually showing it, which is what I've said and what you do not do. So cut the cap. Thank you.
Well, no,
I think it's funny that like you acting real sus right now. Like, why don't you show your bad games? Like, what do you? I'm showing a game where I did good. So what? Like, why are you hurt about it?
You're taking it way too serious. I was just messing with you.
I am not. No, you are. There's clearly there's a reason for it. There's a thought behind it. So I don't understand.
No,
he's not wrong. He's not wrong, Forte, but we should also acknowledge he's still salty about the whole Destiny 2 conversation.
No, I know.
I do not. Oh no. I can't be salty about being right. I'm not. I don't care about Destiny, and neither does 90% of the video game communities. And that will be shown when that game when that game is dead, and you guys are like, "Oh no, not again." So forget that. I don't care about Destiny.
I can't even breathe right now.
I don't know what did Bungie do to him, man. He said not only that, but 90% of the community gonna realize it too.
Forte, that vaulting hurt him in his soul. Them planets got vaulted, and it's been full on revenge since then.
They took all that man's weapons and said, "You can't play with him no more." He was like, "Well, I don't want to play with you."
For accuracy, for the the two Destiny stands over here, I quit Destiny before the vaulting. So just let you know.
Okay. Well, all right. Okay. Well, I mean,
I quit Destiny before then. So.
Well, listen, you for some reason have this. I mean, to the point where he even goes on ILP, and whenever they're talking about Destiny, he'll literally put a super chat out, and Cog would be like, "Yeah, I was expecting this." Slow mo the hater coming through as always.
Hey, it's fun. It's fun. It's
But we have. But
okay, then we're good.
Have fun. Yeah, but guess what? We have fun anyways.
Okay.
No. Listen. No, he said, Dorian Gray said 56-year-old just learned crosshair placement. No, I learned crosshair placement a long time ago. But the biggest thing
he called you 56 years old, man.
Yeah, 56 years old. Ain't nowhere near that. But no, my biggest thing is I learned a lot of this stuff when I played original Ghost Recon back on the original Xbox. That's where my love for shooters really, really started at. That, and of course, original Halo Combat Evolved. But that was like the first shooter where it was more of a tactical shooter where guns matter, placement and everything mattered. But I always had an issue with rushing into things. That's kind of why I hate Call of Duty, because Call of Duty kind of promotes that. It makes you want to run around, and that's the one thing I tell Slumbo all the time. He's really good at just running around with his head turned off. Like, he runs around and his head is on fire, and I'm like, I wish I could do that, because if I run around with my head on fire, I get the results that I get in that game. That's kind of why I like Battlefield more. But the only reason I can survive and really do good in Destiny is because I like the game. So those maps are designed.
Those maps are designed in Call of Duty to help campers and to promote camping. I freaking hate campers so much.
And to run around with a sniper rifle and quick scope people all day.
Yeah, I did get a cheater though over double XP weekend that I reported, and then you gotta love getting that message back that
that they've been dealt with. Yeah, I love it.
Your person has been dealt with.
I ran into quite a few the last time we played. Me and Forte played with Taz. I ran into quite a few cheaters that night, but it is what it is. I enjoy the fact that even with that game having a significant number of cheaters, I can still dominate and still have good games and still have a more than decent KD. So it is what it is. I take it as it is.
Like, Slobo, do you remember in Halo 2 or Halo 3 where they had theater mode? Do you remember how, dude, spent more time? I swear to God, at the end of some nights, I would spend more time in theater mode.
All have theater mode. The only one that didn't is, well, Halo Infinite has theater mode too. It was broke. Did they ever fix it?
Well, I don't know if they fixed it.
I don't think they ever fixed it because it was broken. I was really hoping they would finally fix it, because I would do that too. I would look at theater mode.
I just look at theater mode just to see like the angle that a grenade would bounce off a wall. Like, if I was playing against really good people, that's how I learned how to bounce grenades off. Because, in the middle of playing a game, you'll be like, dude, this dude threw this grenade perfectly off this wall. And it happens every time. And I remember going back and playing like Halo Combat Evolved, and then going into theater mode. I want to hang them high, how people would throw the grenade, the plasma grenade or the frag grenade, and they would knock the sniper rifle. If you throw it at the right angle up on that ramp, you can knock the sniper rifle over towards your spawn. I was like, how the hell are they doing this? So I literally learned how to do that by going into theater mode. Like, oh, that's a perfectly good throw. And like, dude, looking at your gameplay and studying it is like the most addictive thing you can ever do in a video game, especially if you want to get better at the video game, I should say.
Very true. Did we get your outro?
No. What am I supposed to what blanks am I supposed to fill in again?
Where people can find you, what you're doing for the next week or so, and yeah, I think that's about it.
Why you love coming on our show so much?
I do, man. I put a reminder on the calendar each month when I'm gonna ask you guys if I can come through.
Well, we appreciate that.
So, you can catch me on the Enough to Keep Going Weekly Games podcast on the E2KG Network podcast channel on YouTube, 8:45 p.m. ish. Sunday nights, EDT. So for the next week, I'm gonna be, I play Call of Duty, almost every night, every other night, at least a little bit. I don't really get good, but I do get weapons unlocks. So that's all you have to let matter to you. And
I'm sorry that you keep doing that to yourself.
I'm trying. I don't remember if I was talking to Slow Mo about this,
He
but
gets
I am
more
trying to
content out of that than you do in Destiny. So just, stay quiet over there.
I am trying to find a backup because Halo Infinite was my backup, but I'm like, I haven't been satisfied with, the player count.
That the other day.
Yeah,
That was a while ago, actually. We haven't played Halo in a minute. And that was my first time coming back.
Ago.
That was my first time coming back in months. I really just I don't know, man. I get into I guess moods with games where it's like I'm just not really like I'm showing Rogue Company gameplay, but this stuff is old. Like I haven't played Rogue Company in a really long time. I probably won't come back to it. But like I get like in where I get into like spurts with games. So right now I'm not really caring too much about playing Fortnite, even though I know a lot of the stuff that's going on in Fortnite's pretty good. I just don't feel like playing. I used to play games solo. If I'm playing the games by myself, then I'm really feeling playing it. But nah, like I can't play Fortnite. Can't play Halo Infinite. I just don't feel like playing them right now. So it's Call of Duty for me, and it's damn, that might be the only multiplayer game I'm playing right now.
Yeah,
oh, Helldivers, which is PvE, but yeah.
Yeah, I've had a lot. I've had a few suggestions have come up. I mean, even considering getting back into Destiny 2, people have talked about Battlefield 2042. I loaded up Left 4 Dead 2 tonight. Just looking to have a backup because I mean I've been on Call of Duty, but there are those nights that the servers are bad, or like I had in the 2 weeks before season 3 started, they started seeding stuff in the background that just caused at least one of my systems to kind of break until I was able to get that sorted out, and they got it patched between them and Nvidia. So I don't know, I just like to have something that's a backup when Battle.net X up or Call of Duty X up, but I'll and then playing a couple JRPGs in the background. I'll continue playing through Unicorn Overlord. Was playing a little bit of Grand Blue Fantasy Relink earlier in the week, but I'm probably going to stick with Unicorn Overlord here going forward. I also want to get back and play a little Street Fighter because I picked that game up on PlayStation 5 last year, but didn't play a ton of it. So at least go through there and unlock all the stuff and the characters and whatnot. But yeah, that'll be what I'll be up to.
Appreciate you coming through it with us again, man. It's always great.
Cool. I don't know what I'm doing for the next besides watching TV shows and playing COD and Fire Emblem. That might be exactly what I played this previous week might be exactly what I'm playing next week as well. We'll see what happens, but appreciate Logic you coming through, hanging out with us. Appreciate the chat. Good to see you guys as usual. We will be back next week, Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That would be on the 18th of April. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night. It's got we have been a little long in the tooth on this one, but you know how it is. We do this all the time. But hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy your games, and we're out.
Peace.